Welcome to Edge I'm Alex Rivers. A few years ago, tourists in Australia followed their GPS toward an island. The GPS said drive straight ahead. So they did. Straight into the bay. The car went under, the map kept insisting the road existed, and the drivers had to be rescued, soaking wet, still holding a phone that was certain it was right. We laugh at those stories. But here's the uncomfortable part. Every day, at work, you face the same moment those drivers faced. A machine hands you an answer, and you have to decide, do I trust it? Accept, adjust, or reject? You make that call dozens of times a day now, mostly without noticing you're making it. And the research says we're bad at it in both directions. We trust the machine when we shouldn't, and we overrule it when we shouldn't, and we tend to do each one at exactly the wrong moment. Today, how to know when to overrule the AI. The last skill in our series, and in some ways the one that holds the other three together. Let's start with the two ways this goes wrong, because you need to recognize both in yourself. The first failure is trusting too much. Researchers call it automation bias, and it's been studied for decades, long before chatbots. The classic work by Raja Parajuraman and Dietrich Manzi, pulling together years of experiments, found something that should worry every confident professional listening. Automation bias shows up in beginners and experts alike. Training doesn't remove it. Simple instructions to stay alert don't remove it. When a system gives us an answer, our brains quietly stop doing the checking we'd do on our own. And here's the finding I can't stop thinking about. Operators watching highly reliable systems were about 50% less likely to catch a failure than operators watching unreliable ones. Sit with that. The better the machine performs, the worse we supervise it. Reliability breeds sleep. Which means the most dangerous AI in your workplace isn't the flaky one everybody double-checks. It's the excellent one nobody checks anymore. Aviation learned this the hard way. Pilots have a phrase for crews who follow the flight computer so faithfully they stop flying the aircraft in their heads. Children of the magenta line, named after the colored route the autopilot draws. When automation quietly handed control back at the worst possible moment, some crews struggled to remember the basics. The industry's answer wasn't less automation. It was deliberately practicing without it, so the skill is there when the machine taps out. The second failure is the mirror image. Trusting too little. Researchers at Wharton, led by Barclay Dietforst, named this one algorithm aversion. In their experiments, people watched an algorithm make predictions better than humans, and still abandoned it after seeing it make one mistake. We forgive human error endlessly. The machine gets one strike. And before you think, well, better safe than sorry, remember the study I shared 2 episodes back. When researchers tested doctors on diagnosis, the AI alone outperformed doctors who were using the same AI. The doctors' overrides subtracted value. They rejected correct machine answers because the answers didn't match their gut. The MIT meta-analysis of over 100 human and AI experiments found the same pattern across industries. On decision tasks, the human plus machine combination often did worse than the machine alone, because we override well at the wrong times. So that's the trap in both directions. We sleep through the machine's rare failures, and we slap away its correct answers. Overtrust and undertrust, often in the same person, on the same day. Why is this so hard? Because machines fail differently than people do. A human expert who is usually right tends to be roughly right even when they're off. Machines aren't like that. AI is astonishingly good right up until the moment a situation slips outside what it learned from, and then it can be spectacularly, confidently wrong. No stumble, no hesitation, no I'm not sure about this one. The confidence in the answer tells you nothing about the quality of the answer. Your GPS speaks with the same calm certainty whether it's routing you around traffic or into the bay. So the skill isn't trusting AI more, or trusting it less. It's calibration. Matching your trust to the situation, case by case. And you can get most of the way there with 3 questions. Ask them in order. It takes about 10 seconds once it's a habit. Question 1. What does it cost to be wrong? Not, is the AI probably right? It probably is. The question is what happens on the day it isn't. If a bland email goes out slightly clumsy, nothing happens. If a safety decision is wrong, someone doesn't go home. Low stakes earn low scrutiny, high stakes earn high scrutiny, no matter how good the machine's track record is. Track records are precisely what put supervisors to sleep. Question 2. Is this situation normal? Remember, AI is a pattern machine. It's brilliant when today resembles the data it learned from, and shakiest when something is unusual. The weird customer, the new regulation, the drought year, the configuration nobody's seen before. So ask, would this situation surprise the data? If you're doing something routine, the machine has seen 10,000 of these. If you're in strange territory, you are the one holding the relevant information, not the model. The moment feels different is data. That's your cue to slow down. Question 3. Can I check it? Some answers are cheap to verify. A calculation you can rerun, a claim with a source you can click, a summary you can spot check against the original. Verify before you trust. Other answers can't be checked without doing the whole job yourself. For those, the machine's answer is only as good as your expertise to judge it, which is why we spent a whole episode on keeping that expertise alive. 3 questions. Cost of being wrong. Is this normal? Can I check? Now watch how they sort your day into accept, adjust, or reject. The routine internal email the AI drafted? Low cost, dead normal, easy to skim. Accept, lightly read, send. Spending 20 minutes polishing it is not diligence, it's waste. The quote going to your biggest customer, built by the pricing tool? High cost, mostly normal, checkable. Adjust. Take the machine's draft as your starting point, verify the 2 numbers that matter, add what you know that the system doesn't, that this customer nearly walked away last quarter. The machine knows the price list. You know the relationship. The shortlist the recruiting tool produced? Moderate cost, but here's the catch. You can't easily see who it filtered out. Partially checkable at best. Adjust and audit. Sample some rejected candidates occasionally and see if you agree. You're not just checking this answer, you're calibrating how much to trust the next 100. The maintenance system says the equipment is fine to run, but the fitter who's worked that machine for 15 years says it sounds wrong? Enormous cost of being wrong, and an abnormal signal in the room. This is exactly where the machine is weakest and the human is strongest. Stop the job. Reject, or at minimum, verify before proceeding. In every safety-critical industry, the rule should be simple. The machine can talk you into stopping, but it should never talk you out of your own alarm. And your navigation app, taking you somewhere you've never been? Accept, obviously. But notice what the drivers in the bay forgot: the window. When what the machine says stops matching what your eyes see, the machine loses the vote. Water where a road should be is question 2 screaming at you. This is not a normal situation. That's the framework. Now, one more layer, how to get better at this over time, because calibration is a skill, and like every skill on this show, it's built from representatives and feedback. Habit 1. Keep score of your overrides. Every time you reject an AI answer, note it somewhere, 1 line. Every so often, look back. When I overruled the machine, who turned out to be right? If the machine was right most of the time, you've learned you're overriding too much, probably on gut aesthetics rather than evidence. If you were right, you've learned where the machine's blind spots live in your specific job. Either answer makes you sharper. Almost nobody collects this, which is why almost nobody's trust is calibrated. Habit 2. Learn your tool's weird zones. Every AI has territories where it degrades, the edge cases, the fresh events it hasn't seen, the local knowledge it was never taught. You find them by probing, asking about things you already know deeply, and watching where the answers bend. 10 minutes of that teaches you more about when to trust a tool than any vendor brochure ever will. Habit 3. Fly manual sometimes. Borrow aviation's answer. Regularly do a task without the machine, not because the machine can't, but because the day it fails, quietly or spectacularly, you are the backup system. A backup that's never tested is a backup that doesn't exist. Let me pull the whole series together, because this episode closes the loop. We said, use AI without letting it think for you. We said, build the 4 skills that survive, judgment above all. We said, protect the ladder that builds expertise. And today, judgment, in daily practice, is one repeated decision: accept, adjust, or reject, made with your eyes open. Cost of being wrong. Is this normal? Can I check? The machine gets a vote. It never gets the final vote, because it has nothing at stake. You do. Your action this week: start the override log. 1 line each time you overrule the AI, or wish you had. In a month, you'll know something about your own judgment that almost no one at your workplace knows about theirs. Before I go, the usual honesty, because this show owes you that. AI helped research and draft this episode, and this voice is digitally produced. Every claim was checked against the published research, and a human made the final call on every word. The machine did the labor. People kept the judgment. Simplified for audio, not professional advice, and you know the rest. Weigh it with your own judgment. That's literally what today was about. I'm Alex Rivers. This has been Edge Igniter, and this wraps our opening series on thriving alongside the machines. If it sharpened you, follow the show, and pass it to one person who needs their edge back. Keep your edge sharp, and I'll catch you next episode.